the final book in the New York Times bestselling book series Realmbreaker out on February 27th. I got my copy right over here. Victoria Aveyard here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back and talking with you. It feels like we've come full circle.
We have come full circle. And what I love too about the series is that you didn't make fans wait too long. We got about a year in between each one of the books.
Yeah. I try to balance, between my sanity and the reader's sanity.
Well, often too, if you fall in love with a series, sometimes it's so hard to, wait,
I know.
for a long period of time. So thank you for that. Just saying that for
Of
the fans, just thank
course.
you so much for that. Let's talk a little bit about, what we're going to see in this story and also, this epic conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. I love a story that escalates and, when you're writing a series, you're always thinking, can I top myself? Can I get a little bit bigger? Can I get a little bit more? And there were a lot of things that I knew I'm saving that for the last book because I cannot top that. And I definitely think I outdid myself with this one. Sometimes as a writer, as a creative, you're very hard on yourself. You're your own worst critic. And I feel really proud of this book and where I got it to go.
And just, a little bit of an offshoot. I've heard you talk about the dungeon escape that we're going to see in this book. And I see you smile and I see you so happy, especially talking about that. Talk a little bit about creating that and why that,
Yeah.
that part of that book has brought you so much joy.
Yes. There is an escape from a dungeon in the first third of the book, featuring some characters who, when we leave them in the second book, we're not quite sure what has happened to them, and when we meet them, they seem like they're not getting out of the predicament that they are in. For me, when I write those scenes, especially those action sequences, I game them out to music first. And so I really see it, I really feel the rhythm and sort of the propulsion of the scene. And then when I write it, my biggest challenge isn't, coming up with what's happening, but how do I make the reader feel exactly what I am feeling when I have my eyes closed and the music going and I feel every bit of this scene. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm always trying to put that sort of heartbeat into it so the reader gets exactly what I need them to get.
And as far as the music, maybe a couple artists or the type of music that gets you inspired for the series.
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks, and the Wonder Woman theme was a big one for this series, as well as Tina Gong. She's an electric cellist, and she does covers. So like video game music, movie music, all of that. Anything that's really sort of epic and immersive and big, I love it.
As far as writing this final book, do you know what's going to happen at the very beginning, or do you wait for each book and then try to plan out the next one?
It's murky, but I know where I'm going. So I always know my beginning, I always know my end. And the really scary part is in the middle, because that's where you're sort of finding your way. But those are generally the parts of the story where you discover the story for yourself. So that's also a really fun experience at the same time as you're banging your head against a wall. But that's when the characters surprise you, that's when the world surprises you. So I know where I start, I know where I'm going, and I have to find that path in between.
And something else that's surprising is we get three dragons in this
Yeah.
one, and one is a surprise. There's, I haven't read
Yes.
the book yet, but we're getting a surprise.
Yes, and that is another scene that was specifically set to music that came to me very early on in the series. There are a lot of scenes that I imagined that I knew I'm going to get to write that a lot later, and when I finally got to them, it was like the carrot in front of the horse, and I got to eat that carrot.
That is amazing. Talk a little bit about that feeling of either writing the final words to this book or seeing the published version for yourself the very first time. Like, what is the experience
Oh.
like, especially leaving the last couple of years and putting that to a close?
So this is my eighth book that I've published, and you would think the feeling of opening the box and seeing the finished copy, you'd think it would get old. It does not get old. Every single time I think, oh my God, I cannot believe I get to do this. I cannot believe someone is paying me to do this, and I cannot believe that I could open this book and look at the letters and know that those are words that I wrote that are now printed on a page and are going to go sit on a shelf in a bookstore.
And you're currently on a book tour. You're hitting several spots around the U.S.
Yes,
and you're heading to the U.K.
I
Um,
am.
One of the funny things that I love watching about your videos, and also it's like one of the things that like I watch when I like have so much time, is people packing for their trips.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, because it's warm, it's cold, it's windy, it might snow.
Oh
Like
my
you never
God.
know what you're gonna have.
I know. I came from Texas this weekend where it was 80 degrees, and now I'm in New York City where it's 30 degrees. And I'm realizing, oh, my coat is not going to cut it, but I'm just going to run in and out of buildings and that'll be fine. You're basically in survival mode, and that's okay. But like I said, eighth book, I can't remember what book tour this is. I've sort of learned, but at the same time, you forget something always. And I'm not going to the moon. I can always pick something up if I really need to, but I overpack.
You're not coming to Chicagoland for this tour, but you were here for Blade Breaker. Talk a little bit about that experience coming to Anderson's bookshop, and
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
a little message to your Chicagoland fans.
Oh my God, Chicago, you guys turn out always. And I'm always so sad when you're not on my list for tours. Anderson's has supported me from the very beginning. I remember for my very first book, Anderson's was the event I was at the night I found out that Red Queen was a bestseller. So you'll always hold a special place in my heart. I hope I get to come back. I remember last year the Anderson's Chicago Naperville turnout was like bowled me over. So everybody's got to live up to you guys.
Wonderful. I'm sure you have so many fans. I'm sure they're all going to live just as much as the wonderful fans in the Chicagoland area. Since you mentioned Red Queen, any update on
We are still
anything?
very much, we are working. There are so many things I want to say, but I can't say, but I can say that I'm still very happy with our team, very involved. I love everybody, and we're just kind of hoping that we can make something happen. The strike slowed us down a lot, but we're picking up steam again.
Awesome. Victoria, thank you so much for your time today. Again, Fate Breaker in stores February 27th. Enjoy the tour, and we'll see you in Chicagoland soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great to see you.